Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we're going to explain about our composting plant simulation. This is a proof of concept inside the CX programmer itself. So Radit, go.
Okay, so the very first slide, the very first ladder program is the self-hold circuit. So what the following does is that it will allow the circuit to hold in a latch position to turn on the circuit as long as the function is running. So what happens first is that we begin turning on the 0.00 ladder, and then this will start the program. Now, this will allow the time taken for the collection of waste towards the transfer. So we can see that the transfer to sort is a duration of 5 seconds. Then it begins sorting after a while. Then after the sorting, we have a timer of how many is sorted so that it will enter the shredding process of the fertilizer environment. So once the shredding process has stopped using the delay on timer, then we'll have another composting factor that it will have the delay stop timer. So once the shredding is stopped, we will move on to the composting part. After the composting part is done, we will move to the pulverizing and drying process. So in the ladder logic of this CX programmer is that it uses a delay on and delay off circuit, in which the circuit will go in sequential order, which is a sequential process, and everything will be working in like chronologically in logical order. For example, from the first of all, we have mentioned that we have waste collection, sorting, then composting, then drying, pulverizing, then packaging, and everything will be done discretely until the packaging part will be done in batches of fertilizer. So that will be our simple ladder program. Yeah. Maybe Fajar can add some information of this program insights.
All right, so maybe in this part, let we show you the ledger program looks like. So maybe one of us can share the screen right now, or maybe just me. It's okay.
Sure.
Okay, so this is our ledger logic diagram. Basically, we begin the process with the self-hold circuit, as Raditya has mentioned before. So we make self-hold as our beginning process, and then after that, it will run into the time taken to collect the waste. So then the process start begin and going to the timer BCD, and it will be set the value as 50 BCD as well. So in this part, as we can see, if we run this and maybe set on, then it will start counting backwards into 0. And the next one is the waste transfer valve. It's the continuation as the previous process, with which the time taken to collect the waste, and we give here a latch so that it can be transferred to the valve, so the valve to transfer, and when the valve is transferred, it also sort by the timer BCD. And
The screen.
Okay, yeah. No, sorry, there was some.
excuse
Apologies
me.
if there are some technical difficulties. So maybe Fajar can continue again.
Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. So let's continue our discussion here. So after we transferred the valve transferred into the can you go upward, please? Yes. So once the valve transferred to the sort, and it will count backwards as to 0, and it will begin sorting. As we can see here, the latch is uh, have a have have a blip here. So basically it means that our program is working, so there's no problem here. As we can see, it's transformed to the latch, and then it got sorted. And after the process going to be sorted, it will continue to the shredding process, which led to the delay of timer properties to stop the threading. Yeah, so basically it's just a simple ladder logic diagram. It still use a timer BCD, so there's no problem with that. And after we shredding, after we shred the component, then we composed the composting process. And here we can see that the ladder diagram also shown that it works properly. So the timer also have have a 0 value, which mean that it works from the setting value. And after we compose, it's drying and pulverize. We set the pulverizing duration with the timer, and then here we also halt the pulverize, and then it led to the packaging in it. And after the packaging, and the box will move, and it will automatically package by the system itself. And the last one, the box have been completely packaged. Maybe that's all from me, and my others counterparts maybe will have the other additional things want to say, please.
Hello,
Yeah,
please.
so as we have observed from this practicum of the industrial automation process of the fertilizer company, we've seen that this is the batch production of the fertilizer as mentioned in the final ladder, which says that we have a counter value that we can prepare the boxes. So that means it can be also reprogrammable so that we can reprogram the system to have the pellets or packaged in boxes. So maybe this can be flexible for the automation process in terms of the continuous or the batch. So in the end, we'll have the two product type of the fertilizer. We have the pellets or in the powder format of the fertilizer. So this is our observation from the sequential order of process from the beginning to the end of the fertilizer automation. Okay, that's all from me.
Okay, so if there's no other additional things, maybe we can conclude this presentation by a conclusion, maybe from Fikar.
Test. It's my mic.
Yeah.
Alright.